advocates whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave, in the courtroom's dance, who's left to believe? Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. A photograph fades where the truth once stood, blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black robes sway like shadows on the wall, one wrong word and the mighty fall. Who's a sinner? Who's a saint? The jury's out, but the verdict's faint. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight.
All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Please throw a one in the chat. Can you guys backstage see me and hear me? I look up. Okay. Okay. Good. We are cooking with gas tonight, folks. Welcome in. Welcome in. We have an exciting show planned for you this evening. For those who may not know, on Sunday nights, Lee usually takes the night off. And so when the boss is away, the mice will play. And so so that's what we're doing tonight. He needs to rest and recharge a little and all that good stuff. So but we have an exciting show planned for you tonight. We're going to be studying the Kurt Cobain case. And that is quite the juicy one. And we have almost a full panel outside of Lee. We got one backstage. We got Dago and we have Joe. So it's almost all of us here this evening. So I'm just going to say howdy to some people here. Looks like we have, of course, our amazing mods. We have Amanda B in the house. We have Essie May in the house. Looks like, not sure. Let's see. We have Denarius in the house. Good to see you as always, my dear. We have Christine Hurd in the house. We have Teresa 8793 in the house. Good to see you. We have Hangman's Joke. I'm recognizing your name more and more. I've been seeing you in the chat here. We have Written Dreams. Of course, recognize you. We have Zach 4846. That I'm not sure if you're new to us or not, but either way, welcome in. We have Michelle Rowe. Nice to see you again, of course. We have Pennywise, one of our other awesome mods. Phoenix Rising, how are you tonight, honey? We have Jen 7S. I recognize your name, so good to see you. Fox Adams, nice to see you. Of course, recognize you. Oh my goodness, it is so wonderful to see all you guys. And of course, we always welcome over from Dago, the true, I can talk. True Crime Cafe. We have the Blue Crew and the meatballs from the sauce. And so always glad when you folks come on over here and hang out with us and vice versa. We're all one big family now, it feels like. So that's just amazing. Just amazing. So I'm just looking through here. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting show. The Canadian Cat Lady. Hi, how are you? I don't think I saw you the past couple nights. So it's nice to see you. Or if I missed you, sorry about that. Um, but yeah, so we're going to have a great show tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and start bringing up the crew here. So I'm going to bring up the amazing Dago. Oh, you're
Hello,
muted.
hello, 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 hello. Good evening and happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you for.
Happy Sunday to you. How are
Yeah,
you today?
I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you?
Good, good. All right, doing well, thank you. Doing
Good, good.
well.
I'm
So
excited about tonight.
yeah, yeah, it's going to be a good one. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
I covered this entire case a couple months back. One of my amazing community members, Jen Seven, she's in here, I think already. Um, she brought it. Just kind of reminded me one day, just like Joe did the other night. And I said, you know what? I wanted to always cover that, so I did it a couple months back, and it's so great to delve into. We have so much information on this. We have a great show
Nice.
prepared for you guys. Eh, uh,
Yeah,
1 and Robin and Joe, myself. It's going to be amazing, guys. I'm super excited about this. I want to thank, of course, all the meatballs and all my community for joining us as well, and of course, my amazing Blue Crew, who I could not exist without, as well as the mods from over here at Devil's Advocates as well. I appreciate and love all of them as well. Like you said, we are all, in my opinion, one big family now, and I'm very comfortable and
you
very
were.
happy. So all of us
Good,
together,
good. It's
appreciate it.
That's wonderful. All right. That
Yes,
is wonderful. I'm going to bring up Mr. JJ, State of the Deep. How are you, sir?
there he is.
I'm good. What's up, Robin? What's up, Dago?
What's up, brother?
What's up, Den?
Good
What's
to
up,
see you tonight.
Meatballs? Hope everybody's
Yeah,
doing well. I'm interesting. Well, I was gonna say I'm interested to get filled in on a lot of things that I been out of touch with in this case, and I've done some catch up, but I'm not going to be as caught up as these guys are. So I'm looking forward to getting filled in on stuff.
Oh, there's
well,
some stuff I hear.
that's okay. That because there's a lot that I'm sure we can all learn from each other, and that's what's exciting about doing a case like this. You know, because learning about these cases from one another is a lot of fun because
Mm-hmm.
it, and just discovering new things about the case, maybe updates about cases and so forth, as we all know. So yeah, Troubled Ocean says we fucking love you, Dago. Yes, we do.
And there's some
Having a
stuff
great
that's
show.
come out.
See that?
There's
Thank
actually,
you.
yeah, Dago's the man. There's some
Sorry,
stuff
buddy.
that's come out in the last literally several months that
Yes.
Yeah.
that's well, it probably has been bouncing around for a while, but it's somebody wrote a book,
Well,
and
oh, all right. We'll have to
pretty
check that out, maybe.
controversial.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. Well, I'm
Tom.
glad you. So
Go ahead,
let
Joe.
me bring up get him on stage with us here a moment.
Yes.
1-1, how are you?
Hey, what
Well,
are you
Dan,
wearing?
Diego,
What's up with the
DJ,
glasses in the hoodie,
Robin.
bud? I don't know where anybody get that idea from.
That's how I sleep.
I got you.
Yeah, we, we had a great time last night with our little
Yes.
trip last night. So and the chat, you guys out there, the den and the over in the meatballs, you were all fantastic with it, and your comments just made. I had such a hard
Oh
time
yeah.
keeping a straight face when Lee was talking.
It was
Oh my
very
gosh,
hard.
Yes, your comments were absolutely phenomenal. So thank you guys for playing along and enjoying that. So I don't whose idea was that even?
Well, I showed up as a
Um,
joke, and then it was
I
Lee's
know.
idea, I think.
Yeah, it was. It
Okay.
was. I made a
Okay.
I made a joke about that. Dago looked like Obi-Wan a bit, and then Lee, he's like, "We're all gonna do this."
Yeah, I even put my tagline in
It's
after
great.
that underneath my name as Bagel One Cannoli.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. Well, that was a lot of fun. That was a
See,
lot
look,
of
look at. Hold on,
fun.
Robin.
So
See, I don't like that. Look, the one. We're getting blamed for pranks already. You see that?
Yeah.
Mikey said cough, cough. Probably Bagel and one.
take it
Right.
on
We're
one
the
more.
troublemaker. Come on now, Mikey.
Well,
Yeah.
it was because I didn't even know. I came on camera and they're all like, "Didn't you get the memo? Where's your costume?" I'm like, "Costume? The freaking costume!" So,
Yes.
oh my
All
gosh,
right.
that was so much fun.
Let me get
Yep,
us.
go ahead
Let
there.
me get us
Take it away,
started
one
here.
one.
All right.
Yeah.
So good night, Jackson, Juliana. Love you guys. Is it good to be alive in the den on a Sunday night?
Always.
Here we go.
Yep.
Hope you guys are ready. There's a difference between a story that ends and a story that is ended. Tonight's story belongs to the second kind. No celebration, no nostalgia, no comfort in familiar answers. Just a name the world thinks it knows, and a silence that never quite made sense. Kurt Cobain was more than a musician. He was a mirror, and when that mirror shattered, the world rushed to sweep up the pieces. An explanation arrived quickly, efficiently, with enough certainty to quiet the questions. And for many, that was enough. But time has a way of revealing what certainty tries to hide. Details that don't fade, timelines that refuse to line up, loose ends that were never tied, only ignored. Tonight is not about rewriting history, it's about reopening the space history left unfinished. Because when a story is truly resolved, it doesn't require silence to survive. And when a conclusion is strong, it doesn't weaken under examination. We're not here to provoke grief. We're not here to exploit tragedy. And we are not here to promise answers. We are here to do something far less comfortable, to pause, to listen, and to ask whether the quiet was earned or enforced. This is Devil's Advocates, a place where doubt isn't disrespect, where skepticism isn't cruelty, where asking questions is not an attack, but an obligation. Tonight we examine the mysterious death of Kurt Cobain without shouting, without spectacle, and without allegiance to any single narrative. Only the facts, the gaps, and the questions that never stopped existing. And even when people stopped asking them, because sometimes the truth doesn't announce itself. Sometimes it just waits patiently for someone willing to sit in the dark long enough to notice it's still there. This is Devil's Advocates. Let's begin. And with that, live from New York, it's Sunday night.
Right. All right. Yes, it is. So, okay. Just real quick, please, folks, make sure you like the video. Give it a big thumbs up here. It helps us go out into the interwebs and all that good, wonderful stuff. Please make sure that you're subscribed to both Dago's channel and ours because we both channels have phenomenal content. Both stuff you can catch up on, both stuff you can that is upcoming. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure you're sub to both channels. So you know you don't miss a thing. So, all
Make sure
right.
you hit that
So,
notification bell, folks. 100%.
yes, and make sure it's set to all,
Yes.
because YouTube has a great way of just totally messing with your settings that way.
Speaking of which,
I seem
Robin,
to constantly be fighting with it.
I'm glad you said that, guys. For both channels, too, go in there. It just takes a matter of 3 seconds. Because I know there's been some
Yep.
problems with this lately, and check and make sure if you choose to be
Yeah.
subscribed to either one of these channels, make sure you're subscribed, because YouTube has been doing their updates and they unsubscribe people from channels.
Mhm.
If
Yeah,
you want to be
yeah.
subscribed and you're
It's
not,
crazy.
you might want to fix that because it happens.
Right. And like I said, there's a lot of great stuff coming your way from both sides
Yes.
of whatever. So, okay, let me see if I can find this now. There it is. Okay. I have to make sure I'm going to get rid of this. So,
Tonight's
I'm gonna
story is
share
soaked
this.
in lies.
Yeah. So
Yep.
we're gonna get into a bunch of stuff as just a little foreshadow for the chat. So I know people are still coming in. What
Yep.
we plan to do, there is a plethora of content and threads and angles we can go down. So we don't have to rush and necessarily cut people off and do time constraints. We plan on probably covering Mr. Kurt Cobain for the remaining of the month, so probably a good maybe 4 episodes or so, and there's a lot of different threads. The beginning thread that we're going to kind of cover on this is something a little bit unique. I stumbled across it. It intrigued me. I will say before we get into it, with these things, again, sometimes you have to think outside the box and see what the bigger picture is. And I know that JJ, State of the Deep, this is something that he keeps hammering down to you guys constantly all the time. Now, am I saying that, kind of this thread, what I'm going to describe, I know there's going to be some people in here that are going to say, "Oh, this is freaking batshit crazy. There's no way. This is impossible." But I'm not saying that this is definitively like this is what went on, but just kind of like as a somewhat of a thought process. We are gonna, there's a lot of stuff with this case. We are gonna, like I said, we're gonna cover it for four different nights. We're gonna get into a whole thing about the suicide note and the crime scene and a whole bunch of stuff on Miss Courtney Love there. Many like different angles and suicidal, angles and whatnot. But this these beginning segments, it's like I said, it's more so of kind of a thought provoking exercise to open it up and just
Right.
try to keep an open mind, and you'll see when we start.
Yeah.
Robin puts up.
Now, just a real quick one. I just want to remind everyone this is an adult show. We discuss
Yeah.
adult themes, use adult words. If you are watching this, it may not be a good idea to watch it if you're like in either a public place or around children. This is not a kid-friendly show, so just to warn you about that. Because of certain themes that will be discussed and evidence and various things. So if you are triggered in any way, shape, or form by any of that, this may not be the show for you. So we always just like to throw that out there. So just so everyone is aware, I didn't want to put up the parental discretion sign over Joe's face, so I just wanted to preface it by putting that disclaimer out there. So
My
okay,
mod threw
well,
up
go
the
ahead.
trigger warnings too, just in case. Real quick, one I was going to ask you before
Yeah, go ahead.
You're gonna go into that one excerpt that you were talking about earlier right away, right?
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
it's not gonna be a long. It's not a long segment, but if
Okay,
if
I
you
just
want
was
to.
wondering if I could make us like just a quick statement about who he is real fast before you go into that.
Yeah, go
That way-
ahead. Go ahead.
There's a
Sure.
lot of
Yeah,
people
go
out
That
there.
would be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, excellent. That would be great. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sure. I just real quick too, guys, just because I know some people probably may not be familiar with Kurt Cobain. He was more of a 90s musician, so on and so forth. Not everybody was into that, so on and so forth. So I'm just going to make a quick statement to give you a little bit of for some of you that do not know who he is, just a real quick once over about who he is and where he came from real quick. And then what one's going to jump into is very, very thought provoking, just so you guys know. So listen close too, because it's interesting. Just real quick though, Nirvana was an American rock band that came out, was formed in Aberdeen, Washington, back in 1987. Guys, they were founded by, of course, lead singer and guitarist Kurt Cobain, and his friend and bassist Chris. I can never say his name right. I never have. Novoselic, I think it's pronounced that way. The band went through a succession of drummers. Most notably, Chad Channing was their first drummer, of course. And before recruiting who we all know as Dave Grohl, who was also the lead singer of the Foo Fighters and creator of that band at this point now. Nirvana's success popularized alternative grunge rock, which is a whole new era of music that came in the 90s. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people loved it. And they were often referenced as the figurehead band of Generation X. Ta-da. Okay. Their music maintains a popular following, continues to influence rock culture towards the future. In the late 80s, Nirvana established itself as part of the Seattle grunge scene, which is where that came from. And they released their first album, Bleach, for independent record label Sub Pop in 1989. And everything went from there. Most people know who they are, mostly from Smells Like Teen Spirit, which is the big one that came out. I think it was 91 or 90 or 91. Okay.
Sounds about right.
Something like that. It went platinum times 13, folks. It was an amazing album. So, and it's really what introduced me to grunge rock as a musician. I was Slayer, Metallica, Megadeth, that kind of music. And I switched this and said, wow, folks, this is wild. And I kind of fell into this and on we go. So it's kind of a bit of a punk sounding type music for those who've never heard it, but it's got a little bit more of an alternative twist to it. So I just wanted to put that out there and give you guys who Kurt Cobain himself was, where he come from, and why we're talking about him tonight. So go ahead, one. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's great. No, that was a great intro. Thank you. Thank you very much. So Robin, you could put up, the next slide. So, before we get, like I said, before we get really more, and we will get into it today. So I don't want people to think like, we're just going to be talking about this like wacky theories for 3 hours or no. These first two segments, like I said, it's a little bit more of a thought, just provoking exercise. Just you can, and the thing is, for those of you, maybe some of you probably do know a lot about this case. If you don't, I mean, there's some very good documentaries soaked in bleach. There's another British one, I think, called Kurt and Courtney or something like that.
Kurt and Courtney, yeah.
There's a few of them, and what I would say, I would definitely tell you guys, for those of you here who you can't seem to get enough of the Idaho 4 documents and information and stuff that's going out and douchebag fuckery that has gone on, you will see a lot of correlation to like in this case. Like,
Yeah.
What I'll just say, I'm kind of going off on a little tangent a bit, but just what pops out to me, we clearly now have video and pictures of a Hyundai White Elantra that has fog lights, and we have BK's car that does not have fog lights. So no, we don't have a specific info, I guess. We can't tell who's driving the car, right? If you want to go by that, but we know BK's car. We know what the car that they proclaim is suspect vehicle 1. Like, it's not an opinion, right? Like, there are some things, and we try to, we go through on this show and we go over theories and different things. Like, this is a possibility. There's no possibility. Like, it's concrete proof now.
Yeah.
One car has fog lights, one car does not.
Doesn't. Right.
Unless you want to believe in clip-on fog lights. I've never heard of such a thing. So, but
don't get me started.
Don't get me started on that.
So anyway, back to Mr. Kurt Cobain here. Okay.
By the way, one, just so you guys know, I just saw a clip yesterday morning that from my understanding, is supposedly, quote unquote, allegedly, a movie coming at the end of 26 or 27 of him. Charlie Hunnam is going to be playing him, which I think is kind of perfect.
Wow.
And about his whole life, that's called, again, Kurt and Courtney. So we'll see.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Curious.
Yeah. So here we go with our first topic involved with this is setting the frame, and why does this death still matter? What is so special about this? So yeah, he was a very popular artist, and all the, like I said, the fuckery involved with the suicide and whatnot. But why is something so much, why now, this happened in 1994, right? So we're now, what, 30 years have gone by.
Don't remind me.
Why is this still such a fascinating case? What is it about it? So again, this is for you guys, and just try to think, outside the box sometimes. And that's why I keep mentioning JJ State of Deep, because this falls right down his alley. What now? Again, I'm not saying that this is what happened, but
thought-provoking.
Right, thought-provoking. So this isn't so much about conspiracy; it's about influence as power. There's a foundational claim that some musicians aren't just celebrities, right? They become cultural leaders. They speak to people in an emotional language politics can't match. In the transcript, Cobain and Tupac are described as arguably the most popular musicians at their deaths, with Cobain repeatedly compared to John Lennon. So you'll hear this over and over. Some of you who, if you watch some of the documentaries or you get into it a little bit, or whether it's directly about his suicide or if it's just kind of about him as what his contribution was, him and the band Nirvana to to culture, to society. So he's commonly that's a common thing that he's compared to. He's basically called like the John Lennon of the 1990s. I'm sure everyone knows who John Lennon is. If not,
all you need is love.
Yeah, yes, all you need is love. Right. So, what exactly does this mean? So we have informal power versus formal power. Governments, corporations, and institutions operate on rules, hierarchy, compliance. Artists like Cobain, Lennon, Tupac operate on identification, emotion, meaning. That's dangerous, right? If you think about it, because meaning spreads faster than law.
Yes.
So a politician tells you what to do, a musician tells you who you are. So
A good statement. I like that.
Yeah, I
yeah.
like that.
So
Very
once
true.
once someone becomes an identity shaping figure, they can delegitimize authority without policy, right? So you're gonna get, all the time people and oh, we got to change this laws, we got to change gun laws, we got to change this, we got to change that. When you have someone that gets they have enough well, I guess notoriety, enough fame, and they have enough reach, which is not too hard in these days. Now remember, this was the early 90s. There was no internet. Well, I guess the internet was, yeah, because it was like the late 90s. I remember having
Yeah, it was in its
There was a
infancy,
little-
very
really.
small.
Little bit of internet.
There was no
Dial-up.
social, yeah, dial-up, exactly. There was no social media. Like the stuff that these guys are able to influence now is, and how quickly they could do it is like on another level. The
Yes.
social media,
Oh, yeah.
these artists, and so you'll see what I'm getting to in a moment. They can undermine narratives without organization. They can radicalize without calling it politics. This is why I can't speak. Authoritarian systems historically target poets, musicians, religious leaders before generals. So the argument that this is basically saying, the argument isn't that Cobain was planning a revolution. I'm not saying that at all, but it's that he didn't need to. So I don't know if you guys necessarily understand that.
I get it.
Yeah. So if a government or power network worries about instability, influence is the real currency, right? Like you have, obviously money is a big deal, but influence, you can't really put influence in a box. If you have the power, if you're a voice, I mean, if you want to think today, I mean, it's kind of like a hybrid, because yes, he does have a lot of money, but look what happens when Elon Musk wants to, he goes in public and does an interview and he says something about whatever, Tesla, or he says something about some financial thing. You think it's on accident that he's doing that? It's all, yes, he's kind of a hybrid, because he's also about money. He's one of the wealthiest people, but the influence, forgetting about the money for a second, just the power of what his voice, what he's able to do. Like he can make a 1 or 2 sentence statement, and it can affect the whole stock market like the next day.
When he smoked weed on Rogan, the Tesla stock dropped.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think about who he is and what uses the government could have for somebody like him is in essence, I think, what one's saying, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if a government or power network worries about instability, influence isn't the real currency. Musicians, especially ones framed as poetic or morally credible, can, again, shape identity. This is what it means to be authentic. Shape values. Corporate media still sucks. Anti-establishment posture. Shape behavior, attitudes towards drugs, authority, war, society. This sets up the idea that threat doesn't mean criminal. It means uncontrolled reach. That's why these artists can be seen as valuable targets for manipulation. That's what this is all about. This is what I'm pulling on.
And there's and now, if I can add to something that you're
go
saying,
ahead.
if you guys follow anything, obviously you do on YouTube because we're all here. If you look into many, 1 minute, everybody, I'm so sorry.
It's, I'll let you go back to a second. I just wanted to say real quick, it's like musicians and singers, anything musical pulls on emotion. So of course a musician in the music industry is going to be, you know, huge tools
Yes.
for, you know, so.
And you're absolutely right on point. Like, hit the nail on the head, Robin. If we've all seen what Diddy did to the society over the past 2 years, okay?
Yeah.
And we've seen many, if you watch over it, many other musicians, even actors have come out. Cat Williams, Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg. There's been a few others I can't think of that I've watched, and they're talking about exactly what one's discussing right now, what he's bringing us to the table right now, in about the fact that it happens. People are like, no, that doesn't happen. That's just bullshit. It's internet bullshit. But folks, think about what Robin just said. Think about what Robin just said. These people are loved by the world. Okay, just John Lennon, for instance. He said John Lennon's name. Okay, John Lennon is, and these people are so influential. Okay, you know, like for instance, Joe and I are both musicians. Both of us, I don't know who Joe's are, but I can promise you he has them, have influences that wanted us to become musicians, that gave us the want to become musicians and get into what we got into. Okay, there's different people that influenced us to do that. Well, it's not just, they don't just do that. They influence people to want to love them. Okay, so that power alone is incredible. So going to what one's talking about, guys, you can feel it almost. If you have that passion in your soul to want to be that person or to be in that grouping that person is involved in, there's that power. That's all. And I don't mean to interrupt anything. I just want to.
No, it's fine. It's great. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's a great side. So
and one thing, just real quick to add to that, one and Diego, the label that was placed on Kurt Cobain was he was a spokesperson for the disaffected youth of the world.
Yes, exactly.
And he brought a lot of young people together through Nirvana's music.
True.
Which what I'm not going to steal one's thunder, but I know exactly what he's getting at.
Yes.
Because this is exactly how I think. And he said the word threat. You know, when you have somebody that's a cultural icon that brings people together, that in and of itself is a threat to certain entities. Just like John Lennon was.
Yep.
Perfect analogy. One already brought it up. And he was compared, Kurt Cobain was compared to John Lennon many times.
Many.
So we got what's persuasive versus what needs caution. Persuasive, it's true in general that cultural figures can move public sentiment fast. And caution, being influential doesn't automatically mean anyone targeted them. So the central thesis here is that certain musicians are they're not just entertainers, but cultural influencers capable of shifting political consciousness, making them targets of surveillance, manipulation, or neutralization. Figures like Kurt Cobain, John Lennon, Tupac, Jimi Hendrix represent a unique threat because, as what JJ just alluded to, they commanded youth allegiance. They blended art with political dissent. They had global reach without institutional control. So these celebrity deaths are not necessarily isolated tragedies, but as nodes in a pattern. So that's what I want you guys to think of.
The 27 Club.
Did that You know, is that what happened here? Possibly. It just, again, this is a thought-provoking exercise. Just think outside the box for a minute, and just, you know, again, like what JJ alludes to all the time. Some of these, you know, some of these things that seem to happen in our history are reoccurring themes that have, you know, they keep reoccurring. We might have new technology and stuff as to that, but there seem to be themes that keep happening over and over. So if you guys think that, you know, that's why I mentioned before, if anything, I would think today, like today, right now, you know, or tonight, tomorrow, it is so, if you say again, look at the technology that we have, it is so easy for, if the government, with whatever means they're able to get some kind of control on some artist, or, you know, whatever, rock star, someone who seems, you know, you see on YouTube all the time, or someone that's always out there, they're able to reach so many people so easily now with the social media, with what we have.
Yeah.
And this happened, you know, many times, like in our history, with John Lennon, like I said, John Lennon, Tupac, Kurt Cobain, and this was way before we had any of this technology now. And so, you know, and how quickly information gets passed and changed. So the argument hinges on influence, not fame. These musicians reach demographics that governments historically struggle to control. Again, the young, disaffected, anti-establishment audiences. So the key idea is, when artists begin shaping values rather than selling entertainment, they become liabilities. So at what point, what I posed a question for everyone to think about, at what point does fame become a threat? And why do musicians matter more than politicians to youth movements? So you can go go to the next. I think that we should be
Next
up to, it should be up to the poll, I think.
Oh, okay. All right. So
I believe so. There should be.
All right. Let me just get to where I need to get to. We're gonna throw a poll in the chat here. I just have to find. Oh. And of course, my computer. Just talk amongst yourselves a second.
Sure.
What's wrong?
No, she's trying to pull up a poll.
Okay. I'm gonna put it in the private chat for you, Dago. Then that way you can just copy and paste it.
That's an awesome idea.
It's a poll. Instead of you having to type it all out.
That's an absolutely awesome idea. Thank you.
Yeah. And then let me know when you're ready.
Yes, ma'am. 1 second here. Do you believe serious? Is it just a simple yes, no answers?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I'm ready. I'm ready whenever you are, dear.
All righty. So the question is, that's going to appear in the chat. Do you believe certain musicians can be more politically influential than elected officials? So, all right, 1, 2, 3, go.
There we go. Hit it up, folks. Great question. While that's rolling, if it's okay, I'd like to throw another quick piece of info out there.
Go ahead.
Kurt Cobain was never just so everybody understands too, and this is kind of problematic with what one's talking about in some senses too. He didn't want to be famous, folks. He didn't want to be who he became, at all. That wasn't his thing at all. He didn't like the fame, the lights, the oh my God, it's Kurt, everybody falling all over him. He did not like that. He didn't want it. And at some point had even come to a conclusion or a decision. I don't know if this is anything. I don't want to step ahead of anything one about decisions he was recently making before he passed on. Was that anything I'm gonna by stating?
The first segment was like an overall kind of just a thought-provoking thing, and the second segment is going to be the thing that I messaged you on. Like
okay, then yeah,
the real
I'll throw out there that yeah, Kurt was gonna be. He had become, as everybody knows, like one was saying that it's alleged that Kurt took his own life in 1994. Okay, that's how they ended it with it. Okay, that's what it was. But at some point before this happened, Kurt was almost, if I can remember correctly, was about to leave Nirvana and go out on his own. He was trying to leave his wife at the same time too. So there's that there. So he was going to make some changes in his life.
Yeah.
Big decisions in his life. So I just want to throw that out there for you guys as well to kind of think on as you're thinking about all this stuff.
Yep. Okay, let's see here. I have over here, we have like 38 votes. It seems like it's slowing down. I don't know how many you have. If you want, we can end this particular poll.
Mine hit 100%. Everybody answered on this one. Excellent.
So, yep, 97% say yes to that question. So nice. it you know, I love how it puts the results in the chat now. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and to the point of this question, I mean, everybody look at, okay, Elvis. If we want to even go back further, Elvis was very influential on young people. I mean, I remember when he died, my mother cried. Like when she read that he had died. I mean, she was just absolutely devastated.
A lot of people did, yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I really do believe that artists, entertainers, singers, can hold so much sway. So.
Agreed. And real quick, my poll results are, again, do you believe that certain musicians can be more politically influential than elected officials? And 100% said yes, and 0% said no.
Yep. All right.
There it is.
Yep. We've got a bunch of smart people. That's for sure.
Right now.
100%.
Okay.
So we can go to the next, and this is going to be what leads from the last thread to this thread. So again, keep an open mind, and I will do some explanation on this. What
you're gonna need
basically what basically this means, where it comes from. So I'll give a little background. We're gonna pivot a little bit here to the MK Ultra framework, drugs as social control. So Project MK Ultra, officially framed as a Cold War mind control program, but described here as unconventional warfare using drugs, not against foreign enemies, but against dissenters. So MK Ultra's origins are in the 1950s. It was they used LSD, BZ, heroin, cocaine, experimental compounds. And this is basically looking at the targeting of activists, musicians, and civil rights leaders. The most important thing here is the intent. Drugs aren't portrayed as recreational accidents, but sorry about that. but as tools to destabilize credibility and to derail activism. That is a key component to shift public focus from protest to self-destruction. The claim is not that drugs create rebellion, but they are used to redirect it inward. So, if you wanted to neutralize a movement, would you arrest its leaders or addict them? And what's more effective, censorship or self-destruction? Some good questions to to think about.
And just for clarification, that was a CIA program, the
Right.
MK Ultra program.
Right.
It's really
Yep.
one of the most controversial CIA things in history.
Yep.
So MK Ultra is it's real broad. It's tied to unconventional warfare, as I said, and again, it's aimed at dissent and social control. Not just, so a lot of people, you think of MK Ultra with that kind of stuff. Everyone always thinks it's about foreign, it's foreign enemies. This stuff could be used right here in the United States, right here. It's used against, for control and power. Now, what this basically reframes drugs from a personal vice to strategic tools. And the logic goes youth movements equals energy plus organization. Drug waves equal energy redirected into survival, escape. A population focused on addiction or intoxication is less able to mobilize. So, MK Ultra has used many substances, LSD, BZ, etc., and these tools have been used against dissidents. So, we're not just telling a story about artists, we're telling a story about behavioral engineering. That is the key. That's the key component here is behavioral engineering.
Right.
Again, persuasive versus caution, which I mentioned in the last segment. Persuasive MK Ultra existed and involved drugs. The caution, it's still happening and used in the 1990s in this way as an inference, unless backed by direct documentation. So, MK Ultra matters less as a program and more as a proof of mindset. It shows that elites were willing to experiment on civilians. Drugs were viewed as behavioral tools. Ethics were secondary to outcomes. Once a system proves it can do something, the real question is, why would it ever unlearn that lesson? So, continuity, not identical programs, but identical logic, alter consciousness, destabilize identity, fragment resistance. Drugs don't have to be administered covertly if culture does it voluntarily. And that's the evolution. Phase 1 is forced dosing. Phase 2, cultural normalization. Phase 3, self-administered suppression. So then the question becomes like, how does this relate to this is all great info, MK Ultra. How does that necessarily relate to Courtney Love? Well, if you want to, if you do a deep dive and you look at Courtney Love, she's at every time there's like some kind of big scene going on, like she's in Seattle, in LA, and here she's like always all over the place. She always seems to be involved with distributing drugs, one of her there's someone that she was associated with. I believe it was in England. I forget his name off the tip of my tongue right now. She was involved with distributing drugs over there. So is just because she's giving out drugs and whatnot, does that mean, what does that have to do with MK Ultra? What I'm trying to get you to see is that you have to realize that um Kurt Cobain, again, like John Lennon, these guys are super influential. So the government, without question, like they don't, if they're not ready to change certain laws, if they're not ready to, they don't want certain things to change, they absolutely would use these methods to try to gain, not necessarily to, you know, uh control like a Kurt Cobain or a control, but in a sense control that just keep it so disoriented, let's get everyone, addicted to this kind of this drug or this thing, um it's funny with, like with musicians or rock stars or whatever, everyone just assumes like, oh, they just wanted the party and they just want, but how did it start? Where did it come from? Right? Like, you're not just all of a sudden addicted to these drugs. They have to be brought in. And
Mhm.
when you have someone, and if you look at what Dago said, what he had said, that Kurt really, didn't care really about being famous. But if you hear anything, or you hear some of the interviews and stuff that he gave, um, he really was like anti-establishment to
Yeah,
the core. He was, and
right. And they
he
couldn't have that.
and there's even an interview with him. He did not trust the media at all. I mean, there's an interview
No,
you can find with, I listened to it the other day. He he would only believe something if he heard it from the source himself. He said that
right.
that was out of
Sounds
his mouth.
familiar. Sounds
Right.
familiar, don't it, guys?
Yeah, yeah, right? Absolutely.
Now we wonder when we got it. Now that we're all grown adults, as a lot of us were kids when he was saying these things. Now we
Right.
know why he was saying these things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
was right beyond his time, right?
Yeah. He was yeah,
very much
ahead of
ahead
his
of his
time.
time. I agree with that. Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you
Just
so,
real
so how do
quick,
you guys feel about that?
so something that just popped into my head when listening to one is like, I years and years ago, I'm pretty sure I have it somewhere. It's buried in a storage somewhere, but there was a book that came out of like Kurt Cobain's like scribblings and poetry and sketches and things like that. And I have it. It's somewhere. I have it in storage somewhere. So I was a big
So do
Nirvana
I.
fan. You know,
Right.
I was into a lot of the grunge bands, and Nirvana was one of my favorite bands. And back then, coming up, and because he was such a creative person, like he was
Right.
Yeah.
always. If you listen to any interviews about him with people that knew him, he was always writing lyrics or scribbling notes or making little drawings and things, just like similar to John Lennon, very similar. And someone like that has a anti-establishment bent, because you have to remember, and I know a lot of the people in the den already know this, the grunge scene came out of the merging of like punk rock and hard rock heavy metal. And it was like a mixing of those two, but it had that punk rock ethos, that
Mm-hmm.
anti-establishment ethos was a major part of the grunge movement. And to one's point, that's punk was all about anti-establishment. So
Very much
this is
so.
why what one is saying is so relevant when it's talking about musicians and the culture and the influence that they have, especially considering there's been books written about it in the 60s, Chaos, about the MK Ultra and
Yep.
overlap with the hippie movement and anti-war movement. But anyway, sorry to interrupt, but that just popped into my head.
No, it's
No,
a great
great.
point.
No, that's
though.
okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Very,
point.
very good point.
Great point.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I think Paul is probably next.
Oh. Okay.
Are you ready?
All right. I put it in the private chat. There
Oh,
you
I'm
go.
all set and ready to go. Thank you.
All right. Excellent.
We have another pull for you guys here. Let me know when you're ready, dear.
Yep. Oh, don't start buffering. Don't do that.
The question on do you want me to say what the question is, Robin? Or
Yeah,
wait?
go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the poll question, the next one, guys, is going to be when a celebrity reaches massive influence, such as, when they become such a large star, the influence that they would have over society, okay? Do they become a liability to power structures? Great question, too. The answers to that one are yes, only if they get political, and no, fame protects them.
Yep. Okay, now. Okay, and 1, 2, 3.
And we're on. Everybody jump on that poll.
yeah.
Jump. Oh, we're going back and forth between all three, but
And one thing to add, just looking at the poll as it's coming up and everything, Kurt was never overtly political, but
no.
Correct.
you got to remember when people are young, they're not always political. They could become political as they get older.
Right. And that's the
Which
Yeah,
you
danger.
see that
Right.
happen with
Right.
many, many, many musicians when they
Right.
get older.
It
So while
definitely-
he may not have been at that point, his reach and influence and anti-establishment bent would still be a threat.
Right.
Absolutely. It
I
definitely
myself
comes with-
am an example of that. I didn't really get into politics until I was older, and several years ago, I started being less political again. So there are ebbs and flows for everyone regarding and of course musicians and actors and everybody. They're the same. They're human too. So
Yeah, it definitely comes with age and experience, within society as you experience what society, especially somebody of an influential status, as you experience
Right.
what society, expects from you and what you deal with within society, it you have a tendency to fall into political situations, much
Right.
more than as if, when Joe and I were young, partying musicians, we didn't give two shits about politics. It's like
I didn't
still
either
don't.
for
I still don't.
Right.
But
many years.
Right.
back then we cared about
Yep.
playing and partying. Period. That's it. That's what probably mostly what he cared about too. But when
Yeah.
he became more influential, things started to affect him. I believe that he could see from the outside
Oh, yeah.
that he didn't see before.
Yeah. Okay, let's
Yeah.
go ahead. We'll end this.
Looks like when a celebrity reaches massive influence, do they become a liability to power structures? First one was yes, only if they get political, and that's 69% over here. And
Yep,
no
same
fame,
here.
Yep, no fame protects them is 31%. So
And mine is 69% said yes, 28% said only if they get political, and 3% said no.
Oh, I read that wrong then, Robin. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
My answers. Well,
What
either
was
way,
yours?
mine was just two answers. I only saw the two. I didn't see that they ran together. My apologies.
Oh, that's okay, no problem. But
But again,
either
good
way,
answers.
you know,
They're still kind of like running side by side here on both sides of
Yep.
the community. So,
yeah. Which is not surprising in a way.
No, not at all.
And another really important thing is that you have to remember that when you are that popular, you're a commodity. You become
Oh,
a
yeah.
commodity.
Yes, very much so.
Yep.
And you're no longer just an artist who is writing songs and playing shows. You
No.
become a commodity to a lot of powerful and wealthy people.
Right.
Yep.
Which is why a lot of artists now are starting to develop their own record labels.
Oh,
They,
100%.
they
Well,
want to be
that
in charge
yeah.
of their,
too many people have been robbed basically and taken advantage of
Yeah.
and have nothing. And that's one thing that, like I said earlier, Kirk didn't want all that. He wanted to
No.
play his music and live his life. Period. You
Yep.
know.
Yep. So,
All right.
I can't remember. I think at one point in time there was an interview as you're loading that up where I saw him say he didn't want all this stupid, loud, the big lights and the loud guitars, this and that. At some point in time, he had hoped that he would just be able to sit down somewhere with his acoustic guitar and play his songs and become a writer and just put his music out. And obviously, we saw what happened. So.
right.
Yeah, it's wild that he said that, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy, Dago? He literally
Yeah.
said he just wanted to be a guy with an acoustic guitar who wrote songs.
That's it. That's all he wanted out of life.
Right.
Yeah.
And sadly, his counterpart, his wife, she wanted all of the things he didn't: the lights, the fame, the money, the attention, all of that. And we saw we see who she is.
So we're gonna talk about Paul Robeson, whatever, however you say his name. You guys know, are aware of him?
Oh yeah, Paul Robeson. Yes.
Yes, because I know JJ's big music guy. So those of you, he was born April 9th, 1898. He lived till January 23rd, 1976. He's an American bass baritone concert artist, actor, professional football player, and activist who became famous both for his cultural accomplishments and for his political stances. I'm not gonna, he's got all kinds. He went to Rutgers. He was a valedictorian. He earned his LLB from Columbia Law School while playing in the National Football League. He became a figure in the Harlem Renaissance, and he was involved in all sorts of different things in England, and certain movies, and his political activities began with his involvement with unemployed workers and anti-imperialist students in Britain, and it continued with his support for the Republican cause during the Spanish Civil War, the Soviet Union, and Joseph Stalin, and his involvement in the Council on African Affairs. So he has all kinds of stuff. He became very political. But just, those of you who don't know him, between 1925 and 1961, he released recordings of some 276 songs. The first of these was A Spiritual Steal Away, backed with Were You There in 1925. His recordings span many styles, including Americana, popular standards, classical music, European folk songs, political songs, poetry, and spoken excerpts from plays. So what is so special about this guy? Well, this guy was again super influential. He was a very popular artist. He was involved, like I said, in movies, making all kinds of songs, and he became, highly politicized. So here we go. I just wanted to get to the main thing here that he was trying to. Okay, so 1961 to 1963. So this, I guess towards the tail end of his life. Back in London, after his Australia and New Zealand tour, Robeson expressed a desire to return to the United States, participate in the civil rights movement, while his wife argued that he would be unsafe there and unable to make any money due to government harassment. In March 1961, he again traveled to Moscow. During an uncharacteristically wild party in his Moscow hotel room, he locked himself apparently in his bedroom and attempted suicide by cutting his wrist. 3 days later, under Soviet medical care, he told his son, who had received news about his condition and traveled to Moscow, that he felt extreme paranoia. He thought that the walls of the room were moving, and overcome by a powerful sense of emptiness and depression, he tried to take his own life. Robinson's son believed that his father's health problems stemmed from CIA's and MI5's attempt to neutralize his father, claiming his doctors in New York were CIA contractors involved in MK Ultra. Martin Duberman wrote that Robinson's health breakdown was probably brought on by a combination of factors, including extreme emotional and physical stress, bipolar depression, exhaustion, and the beginning of circulatory and heart problems. Even without an organic predisposition and accumulated pressures of government harassment, he might have been susceptible to a breakdown. Others include Robinson's growing private disillusionment with the Soviet Union as a significant contributing factor. So
there were also rumors, 211, not to interrupt, but to throw out there,
yeah,
that Paul Robeson was being secretly, I guess, for lack of better terms, drugged in some aspect.
Yeah, I was just gonna. Yeah, I was just getting. I was just getting to it. So
gotcha.
3
Sorry
days.
about that.
Yeah, it's okay. No, 3 days after arriving back, he became suicidal and suffered a panic attack while passing the Soviet embassy. He was admitted to the Priory Hospital, where he underwent ultra convulsive therapy (ECT) and was given heavy doses of drugs for nearly 2 years with no accompanying psychotherapy. During his treatment at Priory, Robertson was being monitored by the British MI5. Both British and American intelligence services were well aware of Roberson's suicidal state of mind. An FBI memo described Roberson's debilitated condition, remarking that his death would be much publicized and would be used for communist propaganda, necessitating continued surveillance. Numerous memos advised Robertson should be denied a passport renewal, an obstacle that was likely to further jeopardize his recovery process. Let's see what else we got here. His physicians found him still completely without initiative. They expressed doubt and anger about the high level of barbiturates and ECT that had been administered in London. He rapidly improved, though his doctor stressed that what little's left of Paul's health must be quietly conserved. 1963, he returned to the United States for the remainder of his life, mainly in seclusion. He briefly assumed a role in the civil rights movement, making few major public appearances before falling seriously ill during a tour. And in 1965, hospitalized with double pneumonia and a kidney blockage, which nearly killed him.
In essence, it's kind of like what happened. For those of you that follow it, again, we talked about Richard Allen in the Delphi case. It's kind of along the lines of what they did to Richard Allen, guys.
Right.
Right.
So
exactly.
invitation. So Robeson was contacted by Bayard Rustin and James Farmer, who asked him about the possibility of becoming involved in the mainstream of the civil rights movement. Because of Rustin's past anti-communist stances, Robeson declined to meet with him. Robeson eventually met with Farmer, but because he was asked to denounce communism and the Soviet Union in order to assume a place in the mainstream, Robeson adamantly declined. So it basically, the deal with this with him, it's showing what I was referring to. It shows a pattern. It's a pattern in history. This guy was made many songs. He was involved in movies and all different things, not just in the United States. And it seems like because of the influence and what he was able to reach, and a lot of stuff that was going on in the world at the time, it definitely seems to appear that he was drugged. He was by the government, was somehow involved with something with drugging him. That's what it appears. So he was exceptionally talented, politically outspoken. He was allegedly drugged, psychologically harmed, and then subject to extreme treatment. So again, as an example of identifying powerful voice, they destabilize the mind and body, and then he gets reframed as being publicly unstable, and it neutralizes his political effectiveness. So if you look at kind of like what he was involved in, that's kind of what happened here. So the significance is bigger than Robeson. If a system can discredit someone by making them appear mentally unwell, it gains a repeatable tactic that doesn't require open violence. Again, the persuasive versus caution. History shows intelligence programs have targeted dissidents. Again, the caution, the details, exact perpetrators need careful language when you present them, and allegedly as described here. So, what do you guys feel?
Kind of like he was kind of like the original, almost like a test case, is what it sounds like to me.
Yes.
And because it was so successful, the government just figured, well, this is working, so we're just going to be able to keep, like you were talking about earlier, woman, just keep repeating that process.
Right.
Once they discovered they were successful, why go back? Why not try it again and again and again?
And you have to ask the question. I mean, look at every musical movement throughout history, and the four front runners and the forerunners in each movement. Look at the bebop movement. There was a lot of racial discrimination and segregation, and the bebop guys were the rock stars of the time in the 40s, going into the 40s and early 50s. Bebop guys were rock stars, and heroin decimated that community.
Yep.
And if you have something, and music is always a good example, because the hippie anti-war movement was blowing up right as MK Ultra was propagating and getting more widespread. And so each musical movement, as you go through the different eras in history, you had your people that were like the guiding lights of that movement. John Lennon, obviously, was probably the most notorious example of this. And we all know Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, people that were culturally rock stars. They may not have been musicians, but they were they were doing things that were a threat to the establishment. They were trying to unite people.
Right.
You know, Martin Luther King wanted to, you know, he emphasized nonviolent protest, and, you know, the whole Black Panther movement. There's a lot of, if you've studied the CIA, you would know about MK Ultra and also how they infiltrated different movements. And music
Absolutely.
is
Yeah.
always going to be at the cultural forefront of just about any society. And
Absolutely.
America, you know, up until now that the AI revolution is happening, we were the exporter of culture to the world.
Right.
Right.
And, you know, Kurt Cobain he reached levels of cultural influence that are just ridiculous to this very day. Listen to how many, your favorite rock band, they're going to cite that movement, you know, in some way, even if it was the precursor to grunge, the punk movement or whatever. So Kurt Cobain was as influential culturally as any figure, any artist in the history of American music, period.
Yes.
Full stop.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, guys, if you look at, I just saw it in the chat. I was actually going to bring this up. So whoever said Tiger fight, get out of my head. If you look at what has happened to people like Britney Spears, Kanye West, we've seen them in the news many, many times for having outwardly strange behavior.
Yeah.
Okay. And it makes you go, well, they're just crazy. Well, are they? Are they truly?
Exactly.
Is this a reaction to something different, you guys? So, you know, it's something like it does definitely relate to almost, in a sense, what we saw happen with Paul Robeson. Okay. And many other people. Another story I covered, Brittany Murphy. She's not a musician, but she was an actress. Very popular actress. And she's gone. And when I covered her case, it's because there's odd things that have come from these people's lives that they were perfectly fine, and then they weren't. Right. And you got to ask why. It just doesn't happen like that. You know what I mean? So.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Whitney Houston, another one. Yes.
Yes, Whitney Houston.
We could go on and on, man, with all the people
I know
that went off the rails and when they were at their peak.
Absolutely.
And Kanye West is a recent one that comes to mind. Someone that was massively influential, and he spoke out about things that were very controversial. And if you follow Candace Owens and what she has said about Kanye, there was a very, very MK Ultra-esque narrative surrounding the people that were involved with Kanye's life, that were like managing him, what you would call a handler when referring to the CIA.
Yep.
And so the thread that 1-1 is pulling right now, I'm sure you guys in the den have listened to us enough to know that's what we say all the time. You see Dago go like this all the time.
Yep, pull the thread.
Pulling the threads.
Pull the thread.
Right.
Because that's the thread that 1-1 is pulling right now.
And we've been there on my channel too, guys. And you guys know it. And I just said this earlier to you guys. Ice Cube. Ice Cube has come blatantly out on YouTube on his own and said, listen, y'all, this is what's going on, why these people are acting like they're out of their mind. And you either allow them or you don't allow them. And when you don't allow them, you are no longer important. You get blacklisted. But when you allow them to do what they want to do, you become this very important person. And it's almost like selling your soul to the devil. Truly. Okay.
Yeah.
Robert Johnson, if you go back to way back when, Robert Johnson was an amazing blues guitar player and singer. Okay. They made a movie about him called Crossroads. Amazing. Ralph Macchio was in it, blah, blah, blah. And the basis of the movie is that he sold his soul to the devil to become the famous guitar player, singer that he was. Is that what it is? Or is it what 1-1 is talking about right now? Which makes more sense, obviously. But in a sense, the establishment kind of is the devil, folks. So think about it, you know?
I mean, Ice Cube, to your point, Dago, Ice Cube literally straight up said that the CIA was involved in the gangsta rap movement.
Sure did.
Right.
funding the gangster rap movement.
Yes,
And
it
now
did.
I know
Right.
a lot of there's people out there that don't know this information that think it's insane, but that's
Well,
just
because they don't know, they don't do the research, or they don't know the info. There's a lot of people out there who think, I've seen the movie, I saw the documentary on P Diddy and the stuff about Biggie and Tupac and that he ordered, P Diddy ordered the hit, and I've seen all those stuff. But what a lot of people don't know, Tupac kind of like played the role of he wasn't really like a gangster. Actually, his parents were Black Panthers.
Black Panthers.
And
Yeah.
he actually, if you know anything about Tupac actually, his main goal, his main, otherwise he's making music and being a huge influencer. He actually wanted to, his main thing was actually to unite the Bloods and the Crips.
Yes.
He wanted to unite them and push, like, make a bigger push for civil rights. That's what he was all about. But if you talk to just random Joe on the street, no pun intended.
Nobody looked into that stuff, though.
People just they think like, oh, that whole thing was just East Coast
Right.
versus West Coast. That's
Yep.
I mean, that's the narrative that they want you to believe, and that's what they show. But it's a lot. Tupac was actually was like brilliant. Like, people, he actually published. He rewrote. He wrote like a Shakespeare play, and he was like really super intelligent. But a lot of people don't even know that. They just think he's a gangster.
well that whole gangsta image is what sold records.
Yep.
Mhm.
And who was
Very good.
buying most of the gangster rap? It was white middle class America.
That's
was,
right.
Was buying most young white males, and were buying gangster rap. So they were pushing that image on a
Right.
lot of people, and it's a lot of times let's get real here, guys. These are guys that are getting offered insane amounts of money. If they're told to push an image and to perpetuate these beefs and to keep that train running, if it sells more records, these artists are young dudes. They're going to
Yeah,
do
right.
it.
Yeah, and Tupac actually started off with Digital Underground. He was a backup dancer, singer for them, and he was writing his own stuff, and he was trying, you put your foot in the door anywhere you can, and he was a nobody at that point. When he became somebody, they saw that and grabbed him quickly. Okay,
Mhm.
or tried to. I'll put it that way.
Right.
But think about that, folks. It makes perfect sense,
Yeah.
Just saying. So
He was a genius, man. He was
Yeah.
like,
very
really
much.
was.
I've argued numerous times with people. Like, I think he might be, and it's a tough one to pin down, might be the greatest rapper of all time.
Yeah,
I agree with
he's
you
up
on that.
there. He's up there. He's definitely
Very
up
much
there.
so. Very much so. Yeah. And his mother was a very, very highly intelligent African American woman. I mean, beyond a level you guys can imagine. She raised him with morals and character. A lot of course, he became, he faltered to society. He had no choice in some aspects, but she was a very intelligent, just as much as Biggie's mother was. Okay. Both very amazing women raising their children, and they were poor. So, both of the artists did what they had to do to get out of that mode. But again, very smart people, very, very smart people, folks. These people aren't dumb just because they were rappers or gangster rappers, what do you want to call it? They were not dumb by any means.
You can't make it and be that creative and successful,
right,
and not be intelligent. You can't.
Right.
I mean, you are absolutely right. If you listen to some of Tupac's songs, guys, and look at his lyrics, guys, he was writing songs about one of my favorite songs he wrote. I can't think of the name of it, but it involved Mussolini and Amin and all these.
Oh yeah.
All of these, like dictators and people of power. Think about that. And the lyrics are very powerful. He wasn't just rapping to make money. He was telling stories and leaving messages behind where he stood. You know what I mean? So again, that shows the intelligence level, folks. And I agree. That's why they took him down. I agree with that.
Yeah. So to finish up with this segment. So why are we mentioning Paul Robeson as because like what you see on the screen, he's kind of the prototype target. It's showing a pattern. Robeson's case shows a crucial tactic. If you can't silence someone, you invalidate them. Once someone is labeled unstable, paranoid, broken, their ideas become suspect without rebuttal. This is psychological assassination. The deeper implication is chilling. You don't need to defeat ideology if you can discredit the carrier. That tactic scales. Activists, being crazy, whistleblowers or unstable, artists or addicts. So Paul Robeson's story is used as an early documented example of politically outspoken. He's politically outspoken, globally respected, targeted through forced drugging and psychological breakdown, followed by electroshock treatment. This is crucial to look at because it establishes a precedent with documentation, not conjecture. Robeson's treatment demonstrates the state willingness to chemically incapacitate dissent, medical systems being used as enforcement tools, and how reputations are destroyed by induced instability. This becomes the blueprint for later decades.
Good point. And if I can throw this out there, guys, Gen 7 in the chat, I believe it was Jen that said it, said if you she recommends, I think it's Jen that said it. Yeah, she recommends, highly recommends, as do I, guys. If you have not yet read it or you like to read, please read this book. The Rose That Grew from Concrete. It's absolutely fucking amazing, folks. Truly, if you get a chance, please read this book.
All right.
Okay, we're ready for next poll, and
okay.
And then
I do believe I put it in the chat there, Dago.
I'm all ready to go when you are, dear. Can medical and
right.
psychological labels be weaponized to discredit activists? Is that correct?
Yep, that's the one.
Okay.
We have yes, no, or occasionally. So 1, 2, 3, go.
And we're off. Yeah, that book is amazing. For anybody that hasn't read it, I'm telling you, you can't put it down once you pick it up.
And while the poll is going on, a while back, DA and I did a Deep Devils episode about MK Ultra, and we talked about the book. I highly recommend this book. It's so good. I've read the book twice and listened to the audiobook more than once. It's called Chaos. That's the main title, and there's a subtitle like the hippie movement, the 60s, or the hippie movement, the CIA, and the dark heart of the 60s, I think is like the full title. And it's about how the CIA infiltrated the hippie movement in San Francisco, and how the connections that Manson had with the CIA. And it's not only a riveting topic, but it's a fantastic book. I highly recommend it if anybody hasn't read it, because it's not only interesting, it's a great read. It's well written and entertaining. I couldn't recommend it high enough.
I have to agree with you.
How many votes do you have?
1 second, Robin. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I was in the midst of something.
We have 24 votes over here. So
most then, yeah.
It looks like people are done voting, so we could probably end this poll.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, mine just ended too. Yeah. Mine is Again, can medical and psychological labels be weaponized to discredit activists? 78% said yes. 22% said occasionally, and 0% said no.
Oh wow, ours are really different. 92% of our chat said yes, 4% said no, and 4% said occasionally. So wow, that's
That one was definitely different. Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
And
that's cool though.
I got something backstage if you want to throw that up real fast in regards to what Joe said. He's absolutely right about this. I actually have read this once too, only because it was severely interesting to me.
It's such a good book too, man. It's
Okay, hang
it's
on, I gotta.
it's for anybody who doesn't know much or doesn't really know about MK Ultra. It's a good book that introduces that concept of MK Ultra. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and I know I promise you can find it cheaper than that, you guys, but it is worth, in my opinion, every cent. It's I was so curious. Somebody told me to read this because it tells a lot of what went on in the 60s, you guys. He's 100% right. And as soon as I saw Charles Manson's name, I was like, yeah, I got to read it. So, and boom, that's the book. That's what it looks like. But I promise you can get it way cheaper. So,
Yeah, like Amazon probably has it for
yeah,
like a normal price or whatever. But
right. It is great. Great.
There's
Joe.
a couple of books. There's another one that relates to the music more specifically. It's called Weird Scenes in the Canyon. And it's about, I probably mixed up the two subtitles of that book and this one, but it's about the Laurel Canyon music scene.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the days of like Buffalo Springfield and the pre-folky era. So it was more like just before the like Joni Mitchell era and that era.
Yeah.
In the Laurel Canyon scene and the connections between the CIA and that scene and directly to Laurel Canyon. That one's a little more fanciful.
I never heard that one, but
it's very entertaining and it focuses more specifically on the music scene. And you want to know how I heard about that book? From Jacob Dylan, because he was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
That makes sense.
And they were talking because Jacob Dylan did that series, Echoes in the Canyon, that documentary rather.
Yeah.
And he told Joe Rogan about the weird scenes in the Canyon book, and I went out and got it. So
yeah, and for those of you that don't know, Jacob Dylan is Bob Dylan's son, by the way.
Yeah, the Wallflowers.
Wallflowers, yeah, very talented, and that makes perfect sense, Joe. that you would have learned that from him, because that's just kind of down his right down his alley, you know. That other book is amazing, though. You guys need to read that if you get a chance to. I can see how you read it twice.
Fantastic. All right, now we start getting to some of the meat and potatoes. So I know we kind of pulled on a little, like I said, I wanted everyone to kind of think outside the box a little bit. Just a little bit.
I love it when Dago does that.
But I thought it was a well worth thought exercise.
Oh, definitely.
To at least kind of look at the pattern through history.
Never hurts to think, buddy.
You know, with the artists and musicians and whatnot. So here we go. Miss Courtney Love, vector, not villain. So she is framed not just as a messy personality, but as a recurring mechanism inside music scenes. This is what I mentioned before: drugs, access, proximity to major figures. If you look at like what she had access to, like she was at so many like different scenes. She did early sex work, prostitution claims, drug distribution, acid like candy, association with a person said to have ties to intelligence. That was the person from England. I have to get write down that name.
I can't remember it either. I
had it right. So the idea that this makes her usable as an asset. Now, it again. You just have to think at the overall bigger picture. The big thing is that she's not necessarily, can be thought of as a villain, but why does this pattern keep appearing? And is this coincidence, strategy, or survival behavior? If someone can move through scenes by offering drugs, sex, intimacy, social access, they can become a powerful destabilizer even without a master plan. The persuasive versus caution. Persuasive, the pattern logic is compelling as storytelling, and the caution. Many claims here are hard to verify and can become defamatory if stated as fact. But it's it's more so as an argument. It's not necessarily proven a reality. But you see what she had access to, and different scenes where she popped up. She was known to be a huge drug pusher. That definitely is a fact. Is there more to it than that? I know that. You have to think. So this doesn't necessarily require Courtney Love to be a conscious agent. Systems don't need villains; they need mechanisms. That is the key word. Could she? Could even she's so addicted to drugs and the getting access and having access to all this stuff. Could she easily be manipulated and not even realize it and not even know? So she's being kind of used as an asset without even realizing it. This person can function as a destabilizer, a distributor, a disruptor without orders. If someone introduces drugs, fractures social bonds, accelerates chaos, derails stability, they are useful regardless of intent. This argues the repetition across scenes matters more than motive. So this is more of a shift from morality to function, rather than portraying Courtney Love as a mastermind, because I'm sure people would say Miss Courtney Love there is a little bit unhinged, right? From what we've seen. she always seems to be high, or she always seems to be off the wall, right? So this analysis frames her as her repeating behavioral pattern consistent with historical MK Ultra tactics, persistent proximity to emerging music scenes. That's what I keep mentioning. Heavy drug distribution, rapid intimacy with influential musicians, chaos following sobriety attempts. This emphasizes behavioral similarity, but again, it's not direct proof. Just mentioning the pattern. Distribution of psychedelics mirrors earlier intelligence operations. Sexual access plus drugs equals accelerated dependency. Normalization of addiction within scenes. The question becomes less, is she guilty, and more, why does this pattern keep recurring? Which is kind of what Dago hinted at a few minutes ago, where he mentioned a few things. So,
yeah, she's a whole ass mess. Period.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
like,
it's
he was
people.
brought into-
I'm watching the chat, and I see some people are mentioning things that I can tell you we're going to get to that stuff, guys, about
Yep.
the more specifics
Yeah.
about the case.
Definitely. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Even her, I'm sure we're going to get into her history as well at some point to help explain the person she is and all that fun stuff too.
Yeah. We can take a we can talk about that now if you want. If you want to get into her a bit.
It's up to you, boss. Whatever you want
Go
to
ahead.
do.
Yeah, if we want to talk about her. But that's kind of where I end with the sort of the thread of the MK Ultra a bit. But if you look at where Courtney Love, what access she had to, where she, all these different places she had, does that mean that is what was going on? Would she even consciously know? Would she even be aware of it? Would she even care?
That last statement, I think, is the strongest statement. Would she even care? Okay,
right?
Because she herself, as I'm about to explain some to you that I have on her, is a whole ass mess. Again, I will say it again, and it started from a very, 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 very young age, guys. Obviously, everybody knows her situation. She was Kurt's wife. Her name is Courtney Love Cobain, of course, but it was her true name was Courtney Michelle Love Harrison. She was born in 1964, of course. She's listed as, which kills me, an American singer, songwriter, guitarist, and actress. She sucks at every bit of those things. Okay, every bit of those things. She has as much talent in her entire body as I think I have in my pinky nail here, folks. I do not like this woman. I never have.
I think you're being nice.
I'm being very nice at this point. Okay, so it says her career has spanned 4 decades. She has had a significant impact on female-fronted alternative acts and performers. And I agree. Yes, she did open the doors just by existing for a lot of female-fronted acts, full female acts such as Four Non Blondes and things like that. In some senses, I'm not going to give her all the credit. They did the work themselves. They just saw her and said, "Hey, we can come out now." Things like that, and maybe we can do something now. To some aspect, they put that out there. I won't give her anywhere near that much credit, guys. But and she started the band Hole. Okay, she had a few others. She was, of course, listed as an alternative cultured band from 1990 through 2020. She had an itinerant childhood, and she was primarily raised in Portland, Oregon, where she played in a series of short-lived bands and was active in the local punk scene, of course. Following a brief stay in a juvenile hall, surprise, surprise, she spent a year living in Dublin, which is which you're talking about, where one was talking about the person he was very close to from England. This is where this comes into effect. And Liverpool. Before returning to the United States, pursuing an acting career, she appeared in supporting roles in the Alex Cox films Sid and Nancy, which is another amazing. There's a better movie that she wasn't in. As she was in the movie, but Sid and Nancy was a movie that I loved. I was a big fan of the Sex Pistols, folks, which is another hardcore punk band in relation to Sid Vicious from the Sex Pistols. He was the bass player, and his girlfriend Nancy. I always forget Nancy's last name. Somebody will throw it in the chat. I know they will. Anyway, who they both died. Sid, they were on heroin very badly, and Sid ended up not per se wanting to, but murdering his girlfriend Nancy in a drugged rage. Nancy Spungen, thank you so much, Rui. Anyway, great movie. Again, I would check that out too if you guys are into that stuff. I think you'd enjoy it. But anyway, she played in that movie. I hate giving her credit for anything, you guys. I'm sorry. And then she also played in a movie called Straight to Hell in 87 through 89. She formed the rock band Hole with guitarist Eric Erlandson, and she was its lead vocalist, rhythm guitar part player, and she also was becoming quite a bit larger in the alternative and grunge scenes of the 90s. However, her highly publicized relationship with a 1992 marriage to Kurt Cobain himself, followed by his death in 94, temporarily overshadowed her music career. Thank the Lord, because nobody needs to hear it. It also says that Courtney Love and Hole soon rose to prominence due to her uninhibited live performances and confrontable lyrics. The group received critical acclaim from underground rock press for their 91 debut album, Pretty on the Inside, produced by Kim Gordon, while their second release, Live Through This, which is the only album I ever saw, and it sucked. Okay. Some people will argue that. This is just my opinion, guys. But anyway, 94 was met with critical accolades and multi-platinum sales in 95. She returned to acting, which she was in a few movies I saw. I can't remember. She was in The People versus Larry Flint. I knew that one. And there was a couple other where she played some offhanded things. But anyway, moving forward in life, I don't want to put too much out there because she really doesn't deserve it, in my opinion. I'm sorry, but she's fought against anything anybody wanted to do that could help Kurt in any way. As far as like his career and stuff, she used Kurt Cobain to become somebody. Okay, that's a fact. I'll argue that with everybody. His fame, his notoriety, she used it to push her career. And she had heard and found that he was going to be leaving her and flipped out. This is where some of this conspiracy comes into play too, folks. Okay. She's just not a good person. She's not a good person. It was claimed that her father, and these things, I feel bad for any child that goes through this, but introducing her to drugs at the age of 4 was giving her LSD and things like that to babysit her per se, and then prostitution shortly thereafter, so on and so forth. So, yes, there's psychological things in the background that could have created her, but you also always have a choice, and she didn't use that choice. So, she's been through many psychotherapists when she was a child, so on and so forth, as she moved forward in life. And again, just to give it the nutshell effect, like I said, she became close to Kurt. She liked his music and knew that she could latch onto him and use him to get ahead in her life as well. And this is not just an opinion. She did this. So when and here again, when she found out that Kurt was planning on leaving her, she wasn't a happy camper. So I'll leave that there at that point, guys. And you guys can look her up and look into her past. Yeah. Again, I don't want to give too much away about what we're going to probably get into down the road here, but the rest of it, back to you, bro.
Good. That was great.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
And just to piggyback off of what Dago said real quick, if you look at a lot of, I saw people mention some of this in the chat earlier, but these revolutionary artists throughout history, just look back and you'll see it. There's always people around them in the periphery that latch on to them.
Yes.
And many examples. We could go on and on about this. They latch on to them and they don't care about the well-being of that artist or that actor or writer or actor, whomever they are, highly influential people. There's always hangers-on around them. And I can tell you, and Dago can tell you, even on a very, I can only speak for myself. I was just in, local type bands and on and off for years. And even on that level, there are people, if your band maybe gets some local notoriety, there's always people in the scene that latch on. And one of the things that I've noticed time and time again from many bands is that even on the lower level, there's always drug dealers nearby. Always. Like you're
Mhm.
playing in bars and clubs, and back
Yep.
in the day, you played late nights. You know, if you play in New York City, I mean, some bands don't even go on till 11 p.m.
Right.
And there's always people around in those scenes. And so a band gets huge, you can imagine the amount of people that are hangers on that are trying to latch on to those bands, and not for good reasons.
No, they're just
Yeah.
parasites,
Oh, yes.
essentially.
Very good point. I also
Yep.
forgot. Thank
Yep.
you, Christina, for throwing that in chat too. She was also responsible for anybody that's familiar with Kristen Pfaff, her death as well. So again, it's amazing the things she's connected to. You guys is all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, you're very right about what you just said there, Joe, for sure. Oh, I didn't know Phoenix
All
was a
right.
musician. That's awesome.
So you can,
Okay.
yeah, you can go to the next.
Next slide.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's probably should be
Oops,
oh well,
that is not
yeah.
what I wanted.
No, well that was yeah. It's interesting that you
Yeah.
threw that up there. That was if you want to throw it up there,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Well, that's a
Whatever you want me to
yeah.
do here.
No, that's fine.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
What Robin actually threw up there real quick and then took it down. That was actually a letter that was found in Courtney Love's bag by her lawyer actually found it. So it was within a few days after Kurt Cobain had died. So Courtney and Kurt they had a longtime lawyer that they used, and this lawyer found this letter that you can looking at that letter, and then it looked like someone who was like practicing handwriting and
Mhm.
whatnot, and
Yeah.
the mysterious suicide note.
Allegedly, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me throw something out here, guys. She wasn't stupid by any means. She was.
No.
It's hard to say this. She was dumb,
Right.
but not stupid. Let me put it that way, if that makes any sense to you guys. She was an idiot, but not stupid.
Right. So, what we have here, Kurt Cobain sobriety as a threat. So, this is basically kind of flipping a little bit the usual suicide logic. So most narratives assume addiction leads to despair, which leads to death. But what if the arc was addiction, then went to clarity, then went to separation, and then from that became a threat? Recovery is destabilizing because power dynamics shift, dependencies break, and legal financial control changes. Divorce plus sobriety plus money equals conflict spike. This doesn't prove homicide, but it reframes risk.
Yeah, because it was like she wanted to control him, and
Right.
sobriety, if he were to get sober, it was going to lessen his dependency on her. It was going to lessen his dependency on the powers that be,
Yes.
financially and everything else. So that's
Right.
where he became such a threat to the establishment, essentially.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Right. So this
She was,
yeah. Go ahead.
she was even referred to as his handler at some points, guys.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a scary thought. Phoenix just made a statement, you know, because she was an addict, and so on and so forth. You know, it caused issues. If she wasn't an addict, guys, and she had a brain, she could have been severely dangerous. Okay, even worse than she is now. It's a great statement that Phoenix put out there. So yeah. But that statement about her being a handler kind of took me off guard when I first heard it. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because that was before I got into all this other stuff, you know?
Right.
But it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense, you guys, if you think about it.
You guys are nailing it. And also someone in the chat just pointed out the obvious, which is she controlled a lot of people in that Kurt's orbit with drugs.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, she
Yeah.
gave them drugs.
She did.
Like his best
She
friend.
did. Right. Well, that's a key. Right. That
Dylan.
wound up being a key point towards the
Yes.
end.
Yes.
Because Dylan knows that she's fucking lying. He knows.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yes.
he's so.
Oh, yeah.
But he is so addicted, and so you know, and she became his supplier of drugs and money and paid him off too.
And
So,
she
Well,
controlled
yeah, she
Dylan.
paid his rent for like a year.
Yes, she had full control over Dylan, folks, as well. Kurt's best friend. That should tell you right there.
Right.
Yeah.
She
So
knew. She was very
knew.
Yeah.
Right. And Dylan knew that she was fucking lying about everything. All kinds of shit. Inconsistencies. Because you know, the CI that she hired, you know, he was smart enough to tape record pretty much every interaction with her. So
right.
Yeah, that's very telling. Because in Soaked in Bleach, you literally hear the phone calls.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The real phone calls, right, guys? Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I won't
between her
spoil
and,
it now because I'm sure we'll get into it later. But the stuff that came out fairly recently is now I don't know that I believe it. I'm just going to say that right out of the gate because I don't know if I trust the source. But there's some really crazy shit that came out, and I won't spoil it. We'll
get to it.
Dig into different aspects of it as we go forward. But
but like you said though, Joe, the PI, the first interaction he had with Courtney was recording her. Like you said, that says everything to me. That tells its own story. That should say something to you all.
And you know, people were like, some people were like shitting on this guy. It's like he's literally, you hear him on the phone calls. He doesn't believe her.
Right.
Exactly. Not at all. Not at all.
And he was an LA cop, you know, like,
yeah,
I mean, people in the chat have already mentioned Soaked in Bleach, and we're going to get into all that. But one's a cop. When you're a police officer, you're dealing with so many people in certain situations over years and years. You develop instincts.
Right.
Yep.
I'm not saying anything. He knows this better than anybody. You know, you develop instincts dealing with people. And this dude, like, literally right out of the gate, his little spidey sense went off, like, immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, their very first interaction, as you'll find, he was just like, what is up with this chick? And started recording her immediately. So, yeah.
So the mainstream narrative of Cobain as a hopeless addict by highlighting this is where it's, you know, he had a clean toxicology prior to his death. There's numerous statements about physical recovery. He had plans involving divorce and legal separation, and he was kind of seemed to be sort of shifting away, you know, per se, from the drug culture. So if Cobain was getting sober, leaving a destructive relationship, retaining cultural influence, then his death becomes strategically inconvenient rather than inevitable. So, you know, his suicide is a convenient explanation, not a conclusion. Why does the narrative freeze people at their worst moment? And who benefits from him staying labeled as a junkie genius? Interesting. right?
Absolutely.
You know,
Mhm.
He was making some changes, like I said earlier, in his life,
right.
you guys. He was getting clean.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, he was
Yeah, I
working on
think his baby girl was a lot of the
yeah,
reason
he
behind
was
that.
working
He
on
loved
things
her.
with Francis Bean. He's
Yeah.
trying to be a better
Yep.
person, you guys. So
Right.
and
So we're
she
And it,
trying to, yeah, go
and
ahead.
you
Go ahead.
hear, people talk about him that knew him, and it's really, really, really interesting because they were like, he wasn't suicidal.
right?
These are like
No,
his closest friends that he knew his whole life. They were
no,
like,
no. And look,
he was just a
and a key
sensitive
thing,
guy.
just to jump in real quick, JJ. His, you know, I know that he wound up. I know he wound up lying and covering for Courtney Love ultimately kind of at the end because Courtney wound up becoming Dylan's, supplier and she paid him off and whatever. But if you look at, you know, like what he said to what he gave to the CI, you know, he my understanding, right, is that the shotgun was registered to Dylan. So he knew, like, if this guy he's best friends with Kurt. Why, if Kurt was suicidal, why would he let him have a gun? It doesn't make sense.
And
Right.
Makes
again,
no sense.
I'm going to say this as a blanket statement. You have to also remember that in any type of situation like this, a lot of the narrative we're getting, could be colored because a lot of people that were close to him don't want to be implicated.
Right.
So a lot of that, like, for
Right.
example, even the shotgun narrative,
Exactly.
Right.
we don't necessarily, like, that's what we've been told,
Right.
but we don't really know the truth about it. For all we know, Kurt never had Dylan get him a shotgun.
Right.
That could
That
just be
could
a
be true.
narrative.
Yeah.
It just could be a narrative that is being told after the fact to explain why a shotgun was there. That he got it for Kurt and it was in
Mhm.
the other guy's name. So I just put that out there simply because whenever high profile things happen, there's always a variety of information that is spoon fed for convenience and for people to, covering things. So I just say that with I always look at things with an eye of skepticism.
Right.
So I mean, we're trying to undermine the default assumption, that he was doomed anyway. As we've said, Cobain may have been moving towards sobriety. We know it appears he was trying to separate legally and financially. He was, it was becoming inconvenient to people around him, and being clean, we have that whole, there's a big contradiction about, his trip to Rome there. So, Courtney
Yeah.
Love says that he tried to kill himself, and that there's a whole big controversy with that.
Yeah.
Right.
She did that, in my opinion. She did that on purpose to start a
Right.
narrative.
Oh yeah.
And for those of you that don't know, Kurt only got into drugs per se due to a horror, like a really bad stomach issue he had. It was an illness that he carried around for a long time. And he was self-medicating.
I think it was 6 years, I believe. I think it was
6 years, guys. And he self-medicated. That's how he got into drugs. And I think Courtney took full advantage of that and realized that's her control. That's her control. That's how she can handle him in turn. And so there's that for you guys to understand too. He wasn't your typical, well, I'm a rock star, I gotta be a drug addict too. You know what I mean? It just didn't work out that way. So.
Right.
He was a really sensitive dude, by every
Yeah.
account, by every single account.
Yeah.
Very much so.
super sensitive guy, hence the reason why he was such an amazing artist. I
Yeah.
mean,
He was real.
And she
folks,
preyed on that.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She absolutely preyed on that.
Yes, that's the best way to put it too, Robin. She preyed on him like a wolf, folks.
And then apparently, and then there's a will that she's, as Dago said, like she's smart, but she's also dumb too. She actually said in a
Yes.
public interview that, for a long time there was like, oh, there was no, this whole thing about a will. But she said in an interview that she had tried to fight something about a will. There's also, something about Rufy's, narrative tied with Courtney Love. Again, that pulls on the MK Ultra CIA, thread. But when you have a death that's publicly framed as self-destruction, the critical question is, was the person trending downward or upward? So, the evidence that we have, it really appears that Cobain was trending upward. But if you go back and you kind of see what was put out in the media and all the narratives and the stuff that was going on, Courtney Love was doing everything possible to portray that he was trending downward, which
Right.
was not, it's false. It's not true at all.
Right.
So that tells you what is going, what's going on here. If
and
upward,
another narrative that was proven to be untrue was his whole stomach thing. Everybody's like, yeah, he was using so much. Well, he had finally he said it himself in an interview. He had finally found a
Yes.
medication that basically completely got rid of all his stomach problems.
Yeah.
This was like shortly before he died. So
Right.
So
but people
yeah,
would had been pushing that narrative. Oh, he was doing
Yep.
so much heroin because his stomach. But he himself said in an interview
right.
publicly, oh man, I got on because they asked him, how's your stomach? He goes, oh man, I got on like 6 months ago the right medication and it's completely healed. It's 100% now.
And that's a
Right.
huge
Yeah.
and that's a huge thread right there to look at, because
Yes.
if you think of if he's having so much uncontrollable pain in his stomach, where he's
Right.
he's like, he just wants to be high all the time and whatever to get rid of this pain, and he finally gets the right medicine and this pain is gone. Don't you think
Yeah.
that would give you, he would have like an epiphany about, he would be happy now about waking up every day, about right? Like, it's gone, the pain is
Yeah.
gone. So it doesn't
Right.
make
Yeah.
sense. It doesn't make it doesn't make
Going.
sense. Doesn't make sense that there would be, oh, this enormous pain that I feel every day, it's finally gone. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna kill myself now. Like, it doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit.
No, and it was
Yeah.
another narrative that was pushed,
Right.
because anytime the core narrative leading up to his death, obviously with the Rufinol overdose and all these things, it was overdose, pushing that narrative before he was killed. And then when according to the autopsy, he had like 3 times the lethal dose of heroin.
Not
in
3.
his
You're
or it's like
you're being
5
nice.
Way
times.
You're being
more.
nice.
Yeah.
It's like 10.
Yeah.
It's like 10
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Five
Way
times.
more.
Crazy
5
amount.
times.
Crazy amount.
Which is a big argumentative point.
Yeah. Well, we'll get
For
into
another
that.
reason, yeah.
We'll get into that. So, when you have a death that's publicly framed as self-destruction, the critical question is, well, like I said, was the person trending downward or upward? If upward, getting sober, planning divorce, controlling finances, then, as we were just saying, suicide becomes less inevitable. Motive for manipulation becomes more plausible. So, this is, kind of where we get into known versus claimed versus unknown, in keeping credibility, the persuasive versus caution. A sober pivot changes probability, discussions, and toxicology details and who did what must be handled carefully, you know, um, unless, we're looking at some very specific primary records. Some of them we have, I believe, we'll get into a little more depth, but talking about that specifically, but was it 1.51 or 1.53?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Which
What it
is,
ended up being. So it
and
was like 5 times the
so
lethal
Yeah.
dose.
Yeah.
just as a side note to bring that up, if you talk to it's mentioned in Soaked in Bleach, but that forensic doctor, I know Rob. I'm always so
Cyril
bad
Wecht.
with him. Yes,
Cyril Wecht.
him. He's world renowned forensic. Involved in forensics, and he made a statement saying that in no case that he has seen in his entire life, in no case ever, this is someone who saw, hundreds, thousands of homicides and all kinds of crime scenes. Not once, not one time did he see someone with that amount of heroin in their system and, commit suicide a different way.
Right. Right.
It's not
But
right.
when he died, he had signed off on or supervised or performed. You're talking like 41,000, somewhere around in there,
Right.
autopsies and things like that. So this is a man, Dr. Cyril Wecht. We lost a great man last year. So when he says something like that, it carries full weight.
Oh God. Yes.
Yeah. And he said he gave his final conclusion was that this case should be reopened.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they did a
100%.
test, he made reference, and he basically just, I don't remember, I didn't write down, I don't know who actually did the test or whatever, but basically in a nutshell, he shit all over it. So I don't know if it was the state or whoever, maybe Dago has the info.
I do.
Someone they did this test where basically what they were trying to do was simulate someone trying to be as high as how Kurt Cobain would have been. And what they did is
totally
they
screwed
used
up.
first off, they used methadone. They used methadone
Right.
pills that you swallow, and the Cyril, he immediately shit all over them and said, just the fact that they used that alone, he didn't call them idiots in the interview, but it's basically what he was saying, because heroin, when you take heroin, it's going directly into your blood. Like you get that effect like immediately. It's not going to be the same as taking a methadone pills. So the fact that they were trying they're trying to correlate, like, oh, well, we took, this person took X amount of methadone over an hour and we had them perform these such and such tests. Like, it doesn't mean anything. It's
It's ridiculous.
Right. They were, by the way, just so you added that, King County Medical Examiner Assistant Dr. Hartshorn and Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Ray they're the ones that concluded that Cobain committed suicide by intraoral shotgun discharge, folks. That's who one's talking about, and it didn't happen. Right. Just saying. So
right.
And it says, it doesn't say the exact, it says the toxicology report that accompanied the autopsy report showed, not that, sorry, that Cobain had received a lethal dose of heroin, folks, okay? Despite the determination of suicide by the ME and SPD. So again, it doesn't, I have the amount in here, and if anybody knows anything about the amounts of heroin and so on and so forth, it's beyond a lethal dose, you guys. It went, when I first saw the amount, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah. It's almost
Yeah,
it's almost like it's multiple needles worth of heroin.
Like,
right.
yeah.
It was 225 milligrams of heroin.
Yes, which is crazy. Crazy amount.
1.13 actually it's 1,13 dot after the injection. So it's be insane, folks. It's like you said, like you couldn't imagine. First off, let me put it this way: once he did part of that, if that was true,
right,
he would have been able to finish doing it. Okay, I'll just put it that way.
Right. So that's like,
2 to 3 syringes.
Right. Yes. The thread to look at with that. So just, use some common sense and think. Like, you don't need to be you don't need to be medical expert in this stuff. Just think about that. You have a forensics doctor telling you, and I'm sure other experts would agree with him, the amount of heroin he had in his system. So if you would have said like, oh well, he overdosed from the heroin or whatever, okay, well that would have been a different thing, right? But he didn't overdose from the heroin. He shot himself with a shotgun in the head.
That's the cause of death.
That's the problem. That is the issue. With that amount of heroin in your system, you physically would not be able to do that. You wouldn't be able to functionally do it. It's not possible.
Let me throw one little tip on the end of that. Just a little tip on the end of that, you guys. After he injected himself with this insanely amount of heroin that, as one once said, folks, if anybody has medical experience, when it hits your blood, it starts to react immediately, okay? It's in your body immediately. He put the cap back on the syringe. I'm going to leave it there. Figure that
I have that video. When do you want me to play that video, 1-1?
Oh, do you have? Yeah. So I know we're getting close to the 2.5. Yeah. Play. Do you have the forensics?
Well,
yeah. Do you have something from him?
Do you want that, or do you want?
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
Yeah. I'll never get past that one, you guys. He put the cap back on the needle.
Yeah.
I'm right. Sure you did.
Okay. Joe, JJ, I think you're muted.
You're muted, Joe.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I was just going to say, to add to that, a long time ago, I remember, like, I think it was somebody that was like an expert on a psychologist about suicide was saying that people that are that high on heroin, that there's the statistically, like, they don't commit suicide, like, meaning that not forget the shotgun, but just that people, when they're in that state,
euphoric,
it's just, as far as data goes, they don't commit suicide.
Right.
Because if they are that high, good point, Joe. I'm glad you brought that up, because the euphoria you feel from being that high, you don't want to end that. Understand that? Like,
right. You want it to keep going. Right.
Exactly. And you've seen this too, 1-1, I'm sure. Yeah. When somebody overdoses on meth, okay, and you shoot them up with Narcan, they come out of it pissed off, you guys, because you took that away. They want to go back to that point, and that's why they get so angry. Why'd you save me? God damn it, I want my high back. Shit like that, because they were enjoying that so badly. They wanted it, and they enjoy it so much. So, yeah, Joe's absolutely got a great point. I'm glad you said that, truly. The euphoria is so immense and so intense. They don't want to take their own life. They want to enjoy their high, period. So,
right.
Yeah, it's just like
Okay.
they were talking about it just statistically, like
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
with behavior, like people that are high on heroin don't get the urge to commit suicide. It's just
Not
it
at
doesn't
all.
add up with human behavior.
Yeah. Okay, I'll play this from Sarah Wecht here. Hopefully you guys can hear this. Let me know.
Norm Stamper. I was a police officer for
Yeah, we
34
can hear it.
years, and the last 6 from 1994 to 2000 as Seattle's police chief. I wouldn't pretend that there aren't police officers who are cynical and suspicious and skeptical. That was the case in the Kurt Cobain death.
Okay, I don't think that was quite the right place I want. Oh,
There he
Oh, yeah,
is.
you're right there. You're right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe. Over the past 50 years, as a medical legal forensic pathology consultant, I've been involved in thousands of cases, about 18,000 autopsies, and I reviewed, signed off, or supervised and evaluated about 38,000 other autopsies.
I personally investigated, supervised.
So that just tells you, you know, a little bit about his credentials. He also had a law degree.
Wow.
I did not know that until recently.
Yeah.
I did not know he actually also had a law degree.
Right. Smart guy.
So now, do we kind of want to end it there
Yeah,
for tonight and pick
well,
up
you
next
could do
week?
well, there's probably one more poll, right? After this.
Let me see. I think so.
Yeah, there should be another poll after this segment. And then
Okay. So let me get the poll for that.
yeah, while you're getting that up. So I know
Yeah.
I know it took a little time to explain, the thread with the MK Ultra and the controlling and all that, but I thought it was a well worth exercise looking at.
It
Whether
adds.
that's what
Yeah.
Definitely adds.
whether that's what went on here or not, maybe not, maybe it's that isn't what happened here, but it's well worth looking at because he was super influential. I mean, to call him the John Lennon of the 1990s, and it does fit the narrative. He, as JJ said, like he was. I don't know if there's anyone bigger in the 90s that was more influential with the youth, like that whole that movement to the grunge, the punk,
Never.
the punk metal, so
I believe it. I mean, we had Soundgarden, Nirvana.
yeah,
all those bands came out around that time, but I believe, okay, me as myself, okay, Mudhoney, Pearl Jam, all those groups came from the same thread, I guess we'll call it.
right.
But I believe that Kurt was like the initiator, for lack of better terms, the king of the top of the mound that started all this. That's where I found it. Okay.
Right.
And I went into the rest of it based on that. So yeah, absolutely. Very influential at that point.
Yeah, he was, because the other bands were like Mudhoney, and the other bands were massive in that environment, in that scene, and influential. Kurt was a worldwide cultural icon.
Absolutely.
Right. And Courtney Love, just from, like you said, from an early age, just it's not in as JJ will tell you, and I'm sure it's all over these books, and a pattern in history. It wouldn't be the first time sex and drugs are used to manipulate.
Right.
Oh wow.
Diego, I put the question, I put it in the private chat is
I have it ready to go.
Okay, well, I want to make sure because I just put one in there. So
is it a different one? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, that's what I was trying to. Sorry, guys.
No, it's okay. I'll change it up. No problem.
Okay. Yeah. Does evidence of sobriety change how you view Kurt Cobain's death? We have yes, a little, or no. So let me know when you're ready, Dago.
Absolutely, no problem.
Yep, yeah, take your time. Take your time. I kind of had to change it up because going to the new slide, that's all.
No, absolutely makes perfect sense. Okay, hold on.
You guys are crushing it with the way you're presenting this stuff. I just wanted to say that. I
Well,
really
thank
like
you.
the way you laid
Yeah.
everything out.
Thanks, DJ. Yeah, I mean, we just try to get people to think outside the box. Like,
Yeah,
You're speaking my
Yeah.
language, guys.
I
You're
know,
speaking my language.
Yeah, when I covered it, I didn't go into the whole MK Ultra thing, which I think it's a very interesting added angle to this situation, to be honest with you on one. So it's a great job with that.
Yeah,
Pattern
absolutely.
recognition, man. It's all about pattern
Yep.
recognition.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm ready to go, Robin.
Okay. All right. So 1, 2, 3, go.
There we go. The question for those of you, by the way, anyway, does evidence of sobriety change how you view Kurt Cobain's death? Yes, no, or I'm sorry, yes, significantly, no, or a little. Sorry about that. And again, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight with us. Over here.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Guys, I'm enjoying doing this again. A lot.
Us too.
Yeah, and as a little sneak peek, more so of like, I guess, a month out. So we plan to cover. I know there's a lot that so I know people in the chat like, oh, you guys didn't talk about this. You guys didn't talk about we're not done. We plan
Oh
to
yeah,
do
we're not done.
we plan to do another like at least three shows on this. So we will get into
There's so much more. Yeah.
all the stuff with the crime
So much.
scene and all of that. But a little
Yeah.
sneak peek, we think we may, in the future, we may actually put maybe like a poll out or whatnot and see what what the denizens and meatballs, what is there a certain case or certain thing that maybe you guys are interested in that you would like us to cover? But
Yeah, guys.
Right.
In this wheelhouse,
yeah.
sports, yes, absolutely.
But
And if you guys, I mentioned this to one. It's
Yeah.
not obviously not as well known as Kurt Cobain, but the death of Elliott Smith, who was an amazing, very, very influential songwriter, singer-songwriter, also from the Pacific Northwest, died in a crazy, tragic way. And there's a lot of inconsistencies surrounding his death as well. And he was from the 90s also. And for you diehard music fans, you'll know who Elliott Smith is. He's one of my favorites. Amazing singer-songwriter. He was the guy who did the songs for the movie Good Will Hunting.
Oh no, yeah.
He won an
Very
Oscar for the
nice.
song Miss Misery from Good Will Hunting for the best song. Or at least he was nominated. I apologize. I can't remember if he won, but he was nominated for an Oscar for that move, the main song, which was Miss Misery for the movie Good Will Hunting. But that's a whole other crazy story.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
He also
All right. So
Meister too.
I'm gonna end the poll.
Yep.
And so on our side, we have 67% voted yes, 19% voted no, and 14% voted a little. What are your numbers, sir?
I got 20% said yes, 50 said no, and 36% said a little.
This is so cool. Kind of that our audiences are running quite a bit different tonight.
Yeah.
Well, this is
it shows that it's thought provoking.
it's music too. It's always going to be
Right.
different when it comes to music. So yeah.
Right.
So I see a
Right.
question. The next episode, so it'll be next Sunday. So these
Right.
these episodes that we kind of take a little bit, a little bit break of Idaho 4 and some of the other stuff that we covered during the week with the boss man Lee. Sunday's a little bit different. So as I was just saying before, a little kind of hint to we're thinking that maybe next month was kind of such a huge, actually a case that got me involved, kind of interested in true crime from many years ago, was John Benet Ramsey. So we may cover that.
That would be quite interesting. And I was going to offer you up another option too that somebody had came to me with about a year ago, and I never touched on it. Was, and again, if you're not into it, it's not going to hurt my feelings. I'm just throwing one out there for you too. For ongoing shows.
Yeah,
is the death of Princess Diana, because that was
that's another one. Yeah,
very.
Another one.
Yes, I would love that.
Yeah, very prolific, folks. And there's a lot.
We definitely could look into that. That's a definite possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, believe me, I love doing musicians, folks, and all that, but Princess Diana's death was so mysterious, and there's so many lies behind it, and it's like,
oh yeah,
wow.
That's wow. Yep. So, well, let's go around the horn here. Joe, what are your parting words for this evening, sir?
Oh, it was a great show. I enjoyed it. It was interesting. Like I said, to start it off, I had to kind of go back and rewatch things because I had watched all the documentaries because I was a big Kurt Cobain fan. And so this week I've been, watching videos, and I've been watching documentaries that I haven't, I rewatched Soaked in Bleach. I had seen all the other ones. And I started digging into some other stuff, and I found some other videos with different threads and whatnot. I thought you guys did an awesome job of the way you presented it. I love the way you started it out with the MK Ultra thread, because I know a lot about that.
Yeah,
and the way you laid the groundwork for that, for the influence aspect of it. Yeah, the peripheral influence was fantastic. Great job.
Yeah, throwing Robeson in that was really a good idea. That was a good one to show the
I know, right.
Because
I know a lot of people. There's probably a lot of people that don't know who he is or who he was. So, but just trying to show like this is like an ongoing pattern.
Well, that's why when you brought him up, I kind of threw Robert Johnson in there too, because Robert Johnson was from way back when.
Right.
It kind of shows, how far back it can go, coming up closer to here, to there, to, you know what I mean? So yeah, with everybody that's involved, possibly in they call it the 27 Club. There's a lot of musicians that you could look at this with what you brought up at the MK Ultra and go, wow.
Sure.
Jim Morrison and all these people that were involved in this situation, Janis Joplin.
And again, this is, we can all identify the threads, and I'm sure a lot of people in the den can also, but for those who don't know what we're specifically talking about, the books that I recommended, and like Jim Morrison, look at his father, who his father was.
Yes.
Look at, there are threads when you're dealing with people that were massive cultural influencers.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why I love this show tonight so much, because it talks about the big picture stuff that I love to talk about so much. So I really appreciate that.
You just gave me a whole new level of respect for you, Joe, when you throw out Jim Morrison's dad. That blew my mind right there. So I know exactly who you are now, buddy. I know who you are now for sure.
Oh, I've gone deep, man, with this shit.
Yes. Not a lot of people have any clue what the hell he just said, folks. I promise you. And I'm telling you, that's a big deal right there. It truly is. So very interesting, Joe. Very interesting.
Oh, I got tons more where that came from,
I'm sure
Dago.
you do. I'm sure. I didn't mean to interrupt your ending
Oh
tonight.
no, I was just gonna say, we'll have Dago up next here.
And I'm right now, I'm almost at a loss for words after hearing him say that. I'm just like, wow, okay. But anyway, this was great, guys. I covered this case, like I said, a month or so ago, and I didn't delve into the MK Ultra aspect of it. Like I said, it doesn't mean, and like one said, it doesn't mean that it's the answer, folks. Okay. It's just another angle and something to keep in mind when you're thinking about, like I said just a few seconds ago, a lot of these celebrities that were in the quote unquote 27 club per se, and how they may have died. And is Kurt part of that, or was Kurt in a separate situation, or is there a combination of things? Either way, it's a very compelling story and another horrible loss of somebody that changed our lives in the 90s, guys, that really gave us a new, like, I think in some senses it formed part of Generation X, which a lot of us are part of. Okay. I know it did with me. I'll tell you that right now. So great show. I'm very, very happy to be part of this. I appreciate everybody from the True Crime Cafe jumping over here with us, as well as the denizens for being here. I appreciate Joe and 1-1 and Robin, and 1-1 and Robin so much for putting this together. And Joe, what you've added to this was absolutely amazing. I really appreciate you all very much for allowing me to be part of this. So
right back at you, brother.
Absolutely. And thank you guys so very much. Everybody over here, all my mods and everybody that are here, the Blue Crew, thank you. You guys, I love you to death. And all of the community, you know I love you guys. And I'm looking forward to next Sunday so we can jump into part 2 of this for sure.
Yep. 1-1.
Yeah, so great show. Thanks everyone for coming. I really appreciate the input and feedback, from I know Dago did a lot of research in this, and JJ's outlook on this. I knew when I pulled on the info that I got, and I knew when I pulled on this thread, this was right up JJ's. Like,
there you go.
It's almost like he wrote the research for
100%.
This show. This was meant for him. So I knew that he was really gonna like it. On top of the fact that he's a Nirvana fan and all that. So I just want the people in the chat and the people to understand that we are going to cover all the other stuff involved with the case, all the inconsistencies about the crime scene and all that stuff. This was kind of just a bit kind of an introduction, and just like I said, that's why I know some people probably think I'm we're complete whack jobs now. All right, but like I said, I'm not saying that I believe everything is MK Ultra and everything is a conspiracy, but you have to look at the big picture sometimes. And this is what, a big topic, a big point that JJ makes on almost every night on a repeated say. I could probably press a button have him say it. You gotta look at the big picture. You have someone that is such a big influencer, someone that has such far reach to the youth. Doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, what are you saying? Kurt Cobain was an asset of the CIA, or that he might not have any willingness ties to the CIA or anything. It could just be the powers that be see the influence that he has, and like, oh, we don't, we have to control this. We have, or the potential, like we said, Kurt Cobain, he was not per se, political, but he could have easily become that. I mean,
Sure.
he was worldwide. He had very, very far reach, and someone like that can be very dangerous if you know you want laws and you want things to go a certain way. Well, you know, if you know Kurt Cobain woke up one day and he felt a certain way about something, you think he gives a shit about what what the U.S. what the government is going to say about something? Absolutely not.
Right.
And he's gonna control millions of people are gonna follow follow his lead, whether they know what the hell he's talking about or not.
And if he was stepping away, folks, from this this huge spot in society that he held, that could be dangerous to if anybody was handling him or using him as a tool. That could be a scary situation for them if they no longer would have that control in that aspect. Is all, you know, that's another way to look at it too. So
right.
Yeah.
So thank you all for getting attacked up there. I see. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to the meatballs. Thank you, Dago, JJ, Robin. Fantastic job, Robin, with the helping with the slides and some of the video. Great partner. Love putting these shows and stuff together with you.
We have a great time.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Make sure you guys hit subscribe, like the channel. Tons of content.
Yep.
Lee works 30 hours a day pumping out stuff. There's a lot of good stuff to come, and just remember, keep asking questions. And as I said, I guess the main theme of tonight's show is just try to sometimes just think outside the box. What is the bigger picture of at least a possibility? Doesn't mean it's the truth, but
open your mind.
Open your mind.
That's right. Keep an open mind. That's right. Well, thank you, gentlemen, so much. This has been wonderful. I really have enjoyed it. And thank you out there to, the denizens, the meatballs, the Blue Crew, all you guys for sticking with us tonight. Next week's going to be phenomenal. So please tune in again. Thanks for all your support of our channels. And for all you do. And I hope each and every one of you has an amazing night. Tomorrow we'll be back again at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Lee, of course, will be back. And we'll be getting into some Idaho 4 list, whatever it is he has on the devil's docket. So, but you guys all have a great night. Thanks so much.
Take care, guys.
And I can't have a good night.
See you all next Sunday. So much more to come.
Bye, everybody.
Next Sunday. Yep.
Have a great night.
Good night.
Thanks, guys.